TechBiz, and it's a pleasure for you allowing us to be a part of your life and be with you at a time like this. And we do say a big thank you. TechBiz comes from the stable of Eco Innovation Center, an innovation center that specializes in both incubation and acceleration as we seek to fulfill our mission of helping startups, and that's organizations that have innovation at the core of their activities to be able to scale. And therefore, we like to provide that handholding, that support that allows them to be able to scale their businesses, scale their impact, and to a large extent, make our world a better place. Eco Innovation Center is focused basically on driving civic tech, and therefore we do quite a lot of collaborations with policymakers and organizations who are also big on driving civic tech and who are focused on how to improve the ecosystem and be able to build it. And I'm excited to be here. In the last 109 episodes of TechBiz, we've had subject matter experts grace the platform and spoken to us about different concepts, from things around how to use a business model canvas, how to do your products, develop your products, how to achieve product market fit, how to do intellectual property protection, how to work around team, building your teams, the team frameworks, and how to select your talents, and how to build your brands, how to launch products, go through market strategies, investment readiness. These are topics in which we have 109 different subject matter experts come to this platform to share with us. And today is not different, in which I will be looking at one of the topics I find quite interesting. And of course, the topic is about retention optimization. And to a large extent, anybody who is in the business of acquiring people and growing business will know that it's always cheaper to make more from a client that you already have than the cost of acquisition, and therefore retention is a critical metrics when you talk about business growth or the fundamentals analytics of a business. When you look at the investment dollars, of course, it's always a lot cheaper to be able to retain and upsell, and you look at the total of the customer life cycle or customers life value, as some use it, which is CSV, which is the total amount of money you're likely to make in the lifetime of a customer. And that's why metrics like churn and all the rest are conversations that people are always talking about. Like Chef Hyken says, your best customers are your best advocates. Focus on their experience and they'll spread the word for you. And of course, it encapsulates what we're talking about today as we begin to look at retaining existing customers, not only boosts revenue, but also strengthens brand loyalty and advocacy. And that will be the core of the conversations. And we've seen different global people talking from Shopify predicting that customer retention rates in the e-commerce sector will improve by 5 to 10% through the adoption of AI, which has become mainstream now, so supporting the customer experiences. We see that Blissful SAS trend report says customer retention in the SAS industry are projected to increase from current average of 80% to approximately 85% by 2025. And again, is attributed to enhanced customer success initiatives and the integration of advanced analytics to predict and reduce churn. Churn is the biggest nightmare of anybody who is into growth, and that's what the conversation will be about today. How do you optimize? How do you drive retention? And so we'll be looking at retention optimization strategies to keep your customers coming back. And I have a subject matter expert who is also a part of it today as we look at it. My facilitator today is a result-driven technology and innovation leader with over a decade experience in driving customer retention and loyalty through strategic product development. And he's had his work cut out, and he's had his proven track record across the fintech space, the SAS space, and of course the B2B sectors. He has expertise in creating and launching user-centric digital products that enhance customer engagement and retention. He specializes in mobile app development, B2B sales, SAS platforms, and of course, omnichannel payment solutions. He has led successful retention-focused products initiatives at industry leaders, including Remote, ASAC, and Paga, and consistently delivering solutions that keep customers coming back. Equipped with a master's in technology and innovation management, from the University of Sussex, he brings a strategic and data-driven approach to optimizing customer retention and maximizing lifetime value of the customer. And I think these is a speaker that is a must listen to for anybody, especially people in the growth space and anybody who seeks to be able to grow their business. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming my facilitator for today, Omotade Faweye, the product manager at Remote, as he takes us through this session talking about strategies that we need for retention optimization in organizations. Tade, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Victor Benga. I think you've done a fantastic job in introducing myself to everyone on the call. So I probably would be skipping that and going straight to the presentation. So if you don't mind, let me share my screen so we can get started.
Great.
All right. Sharing my screen. And, can I get confirmation that my screen is beautiful?
We're good. We're good.
Great. So thanks to everyone who organized this call, and I'll be speaking about retention optimization, essentially like strategies to keep customers coming back to business, like Mr. Victor as well said. So I am splitting this presentation up into 4 parts. First is essentially discuss about customer retention and what it is, and then move on to discussing about why customer retention is like so important for any business, either physical, digital, or wherever arm of business you're running. And then we'll look at strategies that are used by major global brands to ensure that their customer keeps coming back. Also across traditional brick and online services as well. And then lastly, we look at ways that we can measure our customer retention so we can see how well we're doing. So yeah, first is so the first is first slide speaks on what is customer retention. So the literature there, we say customer retention is maintaining customer relationships to ensure they continue to purchase and engage with your business and prevent them from switching to a competitor. So essentially what we're trying to say here is that customer retention is more or less like when you have a business, you offer a service or you offer a product, you solve a pain point for your customers, and then they experience it once and then they keep coming back to have that same experience. So for me, if we're to relate this to something more traditional, I think one of the best businesses that have customer retention on lock is salons and barber shops. Because me, for one, I don't think I've used a different barber in 5 years, and there are certain reasons for that, which I would also be highlighting as we move on. Same thing e-commerce stores, the bank I bank with, why I continually have used them for so long. So moving on to why customer retention is pretty important. The first is cost effectiveness, like Mr. Victor also mentioned. It's always cheaper to service a group of customers that you have than going outside to acquire new customers, because acquiring new customers comes with the cost of adverts. Either you get foot soldiers out to speak to try and recruit new customers, they're trying to sell your value propositions to them. You're trying to convince them as well that you're better than the other multiple businesses that are out there. So in the real sense, the more you can keep your customers, you reduce churn, you essentially save your business money and move towards profitability. The other one again speaks about increased profitability. The reason being, repeat customers are more likely to make additional purchases and spend more over time. So once again, using the e-commerce scenario, I think the first time I probably shopped on an e-commerce site or social commerce like Instagram sellers, I had this cautiousness in me. I just didn't go out and say, oh, I want this, I want that, and I want that. And I opted to get everything at the same time. Most times I probably will get just one item or 2 items, the most basic of things I need. And depending on the service I get from that business, I will then decide if I'm going to go back and keep purchasing from them. So one thing I've seen is that the businesses that have been able to retain me over time, like Konga, Jumia, I built confidence in them that the amount of money I spent gradually would increase on the platform, because there's almost a trust, one-on-one. I almost feel like I know the business. The other reason why it's important is it's important to have loyal customers, satisfied customers who would recommend you to their friends, speak good about your brand, especially they render a free service for you, which is like word of mouth marketing to other people that you can't reach. And in a way, you find out that your business is growing strictly because you have like satisfied customers. So I think these are like the three most important reasons for customer retention. The next thing we'll be looking at is how to keep our customers coming back. So for this, there's okay, so I have a quote here that says, do what you do so well that they want to see it again and they bring their friends. That's a quote by Walt Disney. And I feel that comes above every other strategy that we can think of. Because the core thing is if you go out to say, this is what your business does, or this is the problem your business is trying to help people to solve, you need to be able to do that so well. Because I mean, if that's not well, every other thing you build on top of that platform literally won't stick. So let's assume that you do your business well, you're rendering the service you want to offer well. The other strategies that you can then use to keep your customers coming back, keep your customer retention high, and no preference of order at all, like data-driven customizations. You can relate this to a lot of things that happen now with AI and like machine learning. The other is you have to deliver like excellent or exceptional customer service. You also kind of can also offer like loyalty programs to your current customers. And then you have to be intentional about your interactions with your customers, essentially like your touch points to your customers, like places where your customers will experience you or have a sense of feel of what you do digitally and like also like in the space. So more or less like your mediums for reaching out to your customers. Then the last thing is feedback and improvement. So I'll be running through all these strategies, taking them one by one, just so we can get deeper into the sense of how they can help you improve like customer retention and ultimately keep your customers coming back. So next slide speaks about data-driven customization. So in a nutshell, this is more or less like how can I personalize the customer experience to meet individual needs and preference. So it's more like when you go on the platform, you essentially feel like everything was designed and optimized for you. So here I've stated, use customer data, tailored recommendations, and segmented market campaigns. So I'll just wrap all this into one and explain. And I think I'll also go with the e-commerce example. So let's say today I sign up on a website, an e-commerce website, probably they sell fashion stuff. So let's say probably like ASOS or Farfetch. I input all my data, mostly my personal data, my date of birth, my gender, and frequently I'm shopping, selecting items, viewing items. So this can all be categorized as user data. So in terms of tailoring recommendations, I then start to see that like, oh, every other thing I'm seeing on like this e-commerce website is tailored to what my preferences are, things I've shopped in the past. So maybe I bought a certain season of some sneakers. If there's a new sneaker, that literally would be like the recommendation I'll be seeing. I won't see something that isn't something I would engage with. So the fact that you can essentially have like data-driven customization, preferences, tailor-made recommendations is the method of keeping people coming back to your product or your service or your website. In terms of segmented marketing, the fact that I have given you enough detail to let you see and more or less know the kind of things I'm interested in means that when you're sending out ads, if I'm someone who loves sneakers, right? So if I'm always getting sneakers and then you send me a picture of, I don't know, you send me an email speaking about probably a ring or a hat or a watch, which is really not something I'm interested in, it's likely not going to get my engagement, right? But with data-driven stuff, you already know what I'm interested in looking at, and you can send me specific things that you know I'm interested at, which would definitely get me coming back. I think the other important thing we also need to discuss again is exceptional customer service, because I literally feel for every business you have to build customer service, build like trust and loyalty around your customers. So there are a few ways to do this. One is proactive communication, another is like quick resolution of like incidents or issues your customers would have, and then having friendly and knowledgeable staff. So in terms of proactive communication, this entails reaching out to customers with updates, follow-ups and proactive supports. I'm pretty sure a number of us have seen how like the fintechs and the banks, how they are proactive in their communication, whereby if there's a downtime of probably like the bill payments, like let's say you cannot buy MTN airtime, they essentially would like send a message out, letting everyone know that okay, this particular feature or functionality that we enable for you is currently down, so don't bother using it. What that does is that it guides the user's expectations. So I'm not going to go on the platform and then be disappointed that the service is not working. Same thing with like follow-ups, like if there are like new feature launches or if you have a new service or a new way of doing things, you can inform your customers prior that like, oh, see this new thing is coming out. This is the changes that we'll be making. And what that does is that it creates sort of trust that your customer base can have for you, which also leads to them sticking around much longer. Quick resolution. Essentially, if I come up to you as a business that I have a problem, the longer it takes to resolve that problem, the more I would accumulate, well, not hatred, but like a certain dislike for the business. And then that's when I'll start looking at other competitors that you can render the service better. So generally, like the quicker your resolution time is, the better for your customers and retaining your customers. Then lastly, we're speaking about friendly and knowledgeable staff. So it's important to train your customer service representative to be empathetic, friendly, and well informed about the product. I think the last thing that anybody would want is, I'm pretty sure it's something everyone on the call has experienced, where you probably go to a business or speak to like a support agent, and we feel they don't know what they're saying, or they just don't understand us well enough, or they don't even understand like what my problem is. Like things like that just tend to like push the customer away as opposed to retaining them. So that wraps up, everything I have to say on building an exceptional customer service. So the next thing then again is the loyalty programs. So loyalty programs more or less like rewarding your existing customers for either bringing up new customers or just the fact that they are there, right? And then they're getting a reward for that. So I find that this has always been done in like two ways, exclusive offers and referral programs. So in terms of exclusive offers, going back to like the e-commerce example, there have been instances where I have gone on a site, I've seen things I like, I checked it out, I probably put it in my cart, then maybe there was no point to make like the purchase instantly, and I just like say, okay, whenever I feel like I'll come back to this. And I find that this website, they're sending me emails telling me that if I check out in like the next 48 hours, I get a discount. Those sort of things. I've also had an experience like the more I spend on a certain platform, the more items I get to see on sales. So, those sort of benefits, they keep me tied to the platform because I know that I would always get things cheaper the more I continue to, probably buy stuff from these people or bank with these people, or, whatever industry it is in. It's just important to give like your customers offers and make them feel special. I think essentially that's what loyalty programs are about, making your customers feel special. The other here is referral programs. I think this is also something that a lot of techies would understand or I've seen in so many apps whereby the app essentially says, for everybody that you refer onto the platform, you get a certain discount or amount added into your wallet. So this is common within a lot of fintechs, payment platforms, and it's also common in a lot of SaaS platforms. Specifically, I use Notion, and how I got to stay on Notion, because at first it was just me trying it out in the trial period. But then when it was time to pay, I was like, now I'm going to like drop this and just go to something I'm more familiar with. But then I saw they had like a referral that anybody I referred, they give me, I think, $5. And I just referred a bunch of people, and they also signed up. As they signed up, I got bonuses as well, which covered my next subscription. And at the end of the day, I just found myself with Notion as a product that I wouldn't live without. So in that case, what they've been able to do is through like their referral programs, they've been able to keep me around long enough that I've enjoyed the benefits that I simply cannot leave. So that's something I think we can all carry into our businesses as well. The next thing to increase customer retention and intentional interactions, keeping customers engaged with really valuable and relevant content. So the major touch points for this are like via blog posts and like articles, social media engagements, videos, and webinars. So I think the perfect example of like the video and webinar is the Eco Innovation Center. Like Mr. Victor rightfully mentioned that they've had like 100 and this is the 110th episode of this. For everyone who's engaged in that community, there's something to look forward to. That you keep coming back to the website, you keep coming back to the platform just to see what the new content is. And something similar as well for like blog posts and articles. I don't know if probably like 4 years ago, I know like this payments processor that they actually put out an article, a very good article, detailed article on how payments work in Nigeria. So what that does is that anyone who's interested in learning how payment works goes on, searches on Google, finds the article, reads on the article, sees that like, oh, the provider for this article is XYZ company, and then out of curiosity, we are just engaged to see what the platform is like. And also people who are already existing on that platform, they get to see educational content that then essentially improves their knowledge about what they are doing, and kind of at the end of the day builds trust as well, because they believe that, oh, like this platform that supports us with this also educates us. It's definitely the place to be at. So I think social media is probably like widespread and common. In terms of how important of a touch point that is, an incident that happened recently, someone was telling me how a startup had shut down, and I asked them why, and they told me that because they no longer post on their Instagram. So you can imagine if someone can reduce a business that's still functioning at short term simply because they're not posting. That's just to show you the relevance that can come from not being intentional about your interaction. So like everything is all important. Your articles, your social media posts, your videos, content that essentially give to keep your customers engaged. Also, all has to be factored into how you can always keep them returning back to you. So I think the last, but definitely one of the most important, is feedback and improvements. So I have this thing that I always say that like no business, no product can be built in a vacuum. Like can't be built without like having customers give you feedback at every point. Because essentially like a business, a product is not built for you, it's built for the customer. So imagine you building all of that without the customer. So it's very important to like encourage like customers to be with you, share their experiences at almost every point of your product. If it's a product, probably like your onboarding point, their activation moments, like get as much feedback as you can from customers, because these are like the good stuff that, or like more or less the ingredients that will make your business or your product totally successful. And of course, once you gather those feedback, you obviously have to identify and see areas of improvements, what the customers don't like, their pain points, and then build on top of that. So those are like the 5 main strategies that I'm pointing out on this call for like retaining customers. So I think after retaining customers, next thing is you being able to determine that like how well am I doing in like retaining customers. So I have this section that speaks about measuring retention. So essentially measuring customer retention. How are your customers staying? How are your customers feeling about your product? How do your customers feel about your service? So there are a bunch of metrics that center around this, but I think that 3 main ones are like your net promoter score, your customer lifetime value, and then like your repeat purchase rate. So once again, I'm taking everything one by one. Net promoter score, which is probably something any techie on this call will be familiar with. It's it's literally on a lot of products whereby the product or the business is trying to measure customer loyalty and satisfaction, like how they're rendering the service. And they do this simply by asking a simple question, how likely are you to recommend our business to others on a scale of 0 to 10? So the idea behind this is that if it's a service you enjoy and you like, and you're satisfied with, you definitely would want to tell other people about it, so they can also get the same benefits and satisfaction that you get. So essentially, this is a scale of 0 to 10. 9 to 10 out of the skills is essentially like promoters. That means people that will promote your business. Passive is 7 to 8, meaning that they're just there, like they won't really, I mean they can, but it's not like you're given that they're going to go out of their way to tell people about your product. And detractors are mostly like people who definitely will recommend your product to other people. So the formula for NPS is essentially like the percentage of promoters minus the percentage of detractors. And the higher your NPS indicates like, they have greater customer satisfaction and your customers are more likely to stick around. The next is customer lifetime value, which is more or less a prediction of how much customers are likely to spend on the platform before they leave, or more or less like their lifetime of the business. So this is very useful in calculating like your customer acquisition cost. So I think this is more or less, well, it applies across every business, but it's more prominent for like SaaS businesses whereby it's a subscription based. So for people like Netflix, I remember I think in 2018 they put out this thing saying an average customer would stay on their platform for 29 months, at a payment of probably like I think so about $10. And the frequency is you essentially pay every month. So based off that, they're able to calculate what their customer lifetime value is, and based off of that as well, they're able to determine how much it is worth spending. So for instance, if in the case I just described, that means they're making about $290 is probably like the customer lifetime value. So then it makes sense to go out and say, okay, you're spending probably like $50 or $10 or even between that, something sensible to acquire that customer, because you know that like definitely the amount of money you're going to get back from that customer will cover your acquisition cost and also bring the business a profit. The next is the repeat purchase rate. More or less, this indicates like the percentage of your customers who come back, who are repeating the purchase, who essentially are coming back to you as opposed to those who don't come back. But then probably in a specific period. So yeah, that literally is it. So in conclusion, I think one thing that everyone needs to note is that you essentially don't earn loyalty in a day. You earn loyalty like day by day. So it's a continuous building process. You can't say you've done everything right today, so hence tomorrow you're not so super with like maybe your customer service, because the day you start dropping one of the strategies or one of the touch points, literally the day your customer retention metrics will also keep dropping. So that essentially wraps up my presentation. I don't know if I have any questions from the team yet.
Thank you. And again, that's as chilled as you are, is as explosive in which your presentation is. I just like the delivery. I like the delivery. Difficult for you to miss out what's in there and what it contains. And I think maybe you should just leave the presentation slides on. I think this was quite instructive, and especially when we operate in a climb where most people do not understand the power of the consumer or the shopper or their customers. I think that the interesting part is the areas where you looked about those indices. Even I work with quite a number of startups, and you find that many people don't understand what their NPS net promoters call it. They don't get to do that. They don't get to share it. It's a metrics they're looking at. Most business leaders are fixated at times on just the P&L. What's the billing? What's the income? The question is, are we getting repeat businesses and all that? But we also operate in a climb where we've reduced customers and client service management and customer satisfaction to the barest minimum, whether maybe because of the way people have been treated from the big monopolies of utilities, your power holding companies, for example, who don't care whether you get light or not, but send you a bill. The other people who don't care whether they send you a bill. We go to the banks, your funds are missing or something is happening, and until people go naked into the banking hall and strip and shout, nothing gets done. And I think we carry this same mentality to some of our startups and the way we do startups, thinking that we're doing the consumer of the shopper a favor, and we do not understand the power that they are the ones that reward us. And the minute they go away from our lives, then the business goes bust. No matter how good or fantastic products are, you're nothing without the customer. But just a question to start with you before going. From your experience and what you've done, do you have any case study of something in your working life where you think maybe business leaders or founders have not paid attention on the customer, on the NPS and all that, and it's come back to haunt them? Do you have any of such examples where customers have not been at the focus? It's not been a very customer-centric culture of the organization, but it's come back to bite them. In case you have any of that, you can just share with us a learning experience.
Personally, I mean, I don't have any experience of that, but I think it's, stuff you can see generally in like all businesses. Because, take any two businesses that are operating in the same space, same business industry, doing the same exact things. And you wonder, like, why is one more successful than the other? And the real deal is that if you then look at, like, or you speak to customers, because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the details and secret ingredients to make like a business good lies with the customer. But then you speak to the customer, and then you find out that like, oh, either like the reception wasn't good, like some of the things that I mentioned as well, like customer service was probably poor, is one of the reasons. I think maybe not entirely a product or an organization, but speaking specifically about a feature, I know like certain features that I literally have put out that I think really give feedback or educate the support team. So there's a new feature out that means people would have questions about it. They need the support team to like provide answers and clarity on what it does and how it can be used. So in instances whereby I haven't, done enough briefing for like the support team or probably the marketing team enough to make them knowledgeable to market and resolve any issues, I always find out that like, maybe on the first day of launching the product, we'll probably have like maybe 100, 200 people that would use that particular feature. But over time, that number just keeps reducing and keeps reducing. And if you then go back to like the support tickets, you then read that, oh, maybe someone complained about this, and you essentially like go on like your own investigation and you find out that like they just didn't get enough support. So that's like a primary example of how not getting support or being your staff not being knowledgeable about a certain thing can hamper the whole structure.
Great. Thank you. And I think that makes sense. A lot of people, especially the back-end people that need to do issue resolution, when we go about our issue resolutions the same way we go about the way we are treated by utility companies in this part of the world, you will find out that people just don't subscribe to you anymore. And the whole world is going subscription model now, whether it's your streaming platform or virtually most things is a subscription model. And it's easier for people to just opt out once they're not getting service. They look at their phones, they see the clutter of apps they've downloaded. Question is the one they get the best support on and works for them that they keep. The other ones, they just find out they keep deleting, and therefore you find out that the business begins to struggle because there's something called the cost of acquisition. The cost of acquiring a customer is so expensive that you could waste a lot of investment dollars getting new customers, looking for them, cajoling them, getting them on the platform, only for you to lose them to churn. And you find that becomes a big problem. But we do have one of the questions. I mean, in the interim, for those who are just joining us, just for you to know that this particular webinar is the 110th webinar of TechBiz, and TechBiz is one of the platforms, Eco-Innovation Center, where we seek to fulfill our mandate of supporting and holding startups so that they can be able to scale. And TechBiz is basically a webinar where we come together every last Thursday of the month, and we have a subject matter expert come to discuss with us a topic that is relevant for people in the ecosystem. Okay, and that's what it is. The 110 episodes you will find on our website. My colleagues will drop the link by 12 noon tomorrow. This will be up www.ecoicenter.com/webinar. You will find all the 110 episodes of this webinar, including this one on there. So make sure you take your time, go through it, understand what's about, and to a large extent, if you have questions, we do have a group, a collaborative group where we can provide and all the support as the Tech Biz Nation. It's on WhatsApp, it's on Instagram. Should you choose to want to have questions or be a part of that, my colleagues also will be sending the link into the chat room. You can join our community. You can also look at these recordings, and we can be able to support you on any questions. The essence basically is to be able to support you on the way. Somebody did ask a question: what strategies can I put in place to reduce customer churn? I think you must have mentioned, and that's why I was thinking that you should leave the slides on so that we can also be able to deliver on customer retention and customer experience and customer satisfaction on this webinar. That's why I say you should leave it on. But I think this is something you've spoken to, but I think somebody's asking for emphasis. What strategies can I put in place to reduce customer churn? Over to you, Tade.
Right. So, going back to the current screen that we have displayed, which is feedback and improvements. So elaborating more on that, something I've done and I've seen a lot of people do is that when people churn, it's always a good practice to ask them why, because you'll be surprised that they left because it might be something so small. And most of all, it goes back to like feedback that you're getting from the churned user. So essentially, people who have carried out the action that, okay, they've left, either by frustration, either by something didn't work, or the value propositions wasn't what they were expecting. It's more or less like the guys like, we don't know. So the only way you can get that is by speaking to them. The other thing is, I don't know if you have analytics, like behavioral analytics embedded into your product. Because if you have that, you can probably identify that user, watch what their interactions were over like the past couple of months, and try and determine like, okay, was it that they didn't land on any activation points or they just didn't see value? So, but the real thing is, you can essentially support your answer with like, qualitative inputs, and also speak to them to like get like really qualitative stuff, and back it up with like quantitative stuff from your analytics as well. So I think once again, the best strategy is always to speak to your customers. They literally hold the answers to everything.
So much. It's always about the customers. They hold the key to it. You need to be obsessed about understanding the customer. There's a key metrics he had mentioned earlier on, which I wanted to shed light on, and that's about repeat purchase. I do remember starting my career over 2 decades ago, and my boss, my line manager, then kept telling me as a salesperson, a salesman has not achieved his sale except there's a repeat business. Okay. A lot of people are obsessed about doing that one-time business. Oh, I was able to sell it. That hustling mentality that we bring from our everyday walks of life into what we're doing here. But again, you need to know that businesses are not built on one-time business. They're built on repeat customers, repeat transactions, repeat purchase. And the only way you can get a repeat business is to make sure that we keep these customers at the heart of it, like here they mentioned, and they take their feedback, take them seriously, check what's working with them, and you will be in business because they will continue to come back and patronize and bring the numbers. And then that's the best way to avoid churn, because churn is a cost. The more churn you have, then it becomes an issue. Okay. Antonia had said, apart from loyalty programs, what other cost-effective strategies can you recommend to improve customer retention based on your experience, apart from loyalty programs? What else do you think?
Well, still looking at what we have here, it doesn't cost anything to like train maybe training material, but to have your staff trained to be able to support like customers better is definitely one. And I think one of the core things as well is having a very strong value proposition. Like you are literally solving a very strong problem for your customers. Because if the problem isn't so strong enough, then they probably won't come back. Probably going to be like maybe a one-time thing, and once they're done, they won't come back. So it's more or less having a strong value proposition, and some of these things, making sure your customer service is set up right to support the customer. That doesn't cost money, and most of all, going back again to listening to the customer, very important.
Thank you. That works. Ultimately, the biggest asset any business has other people will testify, the champions, and here, your first constituents are the colleagues, are your staff, are your people who do that, and they must be trained to understand that you need to put the customer first. You need to put the consumer first. They used to say that the customer is king, but maybe the customer is not the king. The customer is the business. So the problem is not just the king, it's the fact that without customers, you really don't have any business. And that for me is the obsession we should have about satisfying our customer every time, not taking them for granted, not assuming. One strategy I've seen in business 15 years is don't give your customers an opportunity to try out competition. Don't ever give them. There's this funny feeling, oh, you think you're super and all that. The minute you let them down one bit and they try competition, many might not come back. So always make sure you are desperate to keep your customers, to retain them, like you had said. And I think there's no better way to avoid churn than that. Once you're obsessed about the customer, then it works. Okay, this is not my area of strength, but this question says, can you use the same strategies to work for a YouTube channel? I recently created a home garden channel on YouTube, and I'm looking for strategies to acquire and grow my channel subscribers. This is the new world, the new age, the new environment, and all that. Not my area of strength, but I'm sure Tadi's got one or two tips. How do you grow your channel on YouTube, your followership rather, on your following on social media platforms? What do you recommend?
So I'm not sure if I have a perfect answer to that, but I mean, just judging from my experience of trying to see or tailor content towards what people would engage with, I think one thing definitely is to have a lot of content, right? Not necessarily a lot, but see how people engage with content. And when you see that, like, there's quite recently I was testing something out, and I essentially was checking out Google Trends just to see what keywords people are searching for, what people are interested in. So I think that's probably like a good place to start off, because it depends on so many things. Like you probably would have to understand the segments, like who your customer is, who exactly you call a customer. Then you probably build a persona of what that customer is. You understand like kind of things they'll be interested in, and you just have to create content around that. Then I think probably as we're speaking about intentional interactions, so because it's focused essentially on YouTube, doesn't mean you shouldn't have like maybe an Instagram or a Facebook page that's going to help you divert customers with a similar mindset that have that interest to your YouTube channel. So I think it's more about being intentional about like all your interaction touch points where you know that people can see and experience your business or your channel, and then link it back to you.
Great. Thank you so much. Again, I always tell people, if you design a solution for yourself and you do not design for your target audience, then it also becomes a struggle. And here, because you're talking more around growth than retention. Here I see you say the latter part. I'm looking for strategies to acquire and grow my channel's subscribers. So it's not so much about retention. It's not so much of people leaving. It's more around how do you get the growth. The first thing is to make sure that in startups or product conversations, we talk about product market fit. But here we need to be sure that there's a content and audience fit. Are you having the right content for your audience? That's what will bring the eyeballs initially, okay? So I keep telling people, research very well, understand, like I had mentioned, what are people searching for? What are they looking for? If you're not offering what people are asking for, you will struggle. You will not even have viewership, talk less of retaining them. So again, do an analysis, do a deep test, run a survey, get people to look at it, take feedback. A lot of people who do things hate feedback. We take feedback too personally. We think, and that's the same issue we have with people dealing with customers and churn. Customers raise a ticket, customers sends an issue, you think they complain too much, customers are difficult to satisfy. They pay your bills. I mean, no matter how much they spend, I mean, look at all the top we call them the big five in the US, Amazon, Alphabet, and all the guys. Hey, it's the little things in different corners of the earth, all the subscriptions that adds up to the $1 trillion in there. It's not they looking one customer who is giving them $5 million. It's 10,000, 5,000, 200. It's all that you put together, advertising spend, that makes them $1 trillion worth companies. Okay. So again, it's to have that mindset of having a heart to want to serve, want to please, want to be there to support, be fixated on making sure they have a good experience. Not assuming people just complain, taking feedback positively. I think those are the kind of things that we need when you start something like a YouTube channel, so people can critique, they can do devil's advocates, and you take it in your stride and take it in good spirit to be able to deliver the experience. I think I did say a question earlier on, and that might be the last. How do different departments, I think it mentioned this, collaborate on retention strategies, marketing, sales, customer services? How can we get them to collaborate on retention? Again, I know at times people work at Crossroad. I was taking a marketing analytics course where my professor was talking to me about that. It's always been there, this conflict between the marketing analytics guys who are trying to grow, who are focused on the customer life cycle and the customer life value, and trying to fight churn, trying to look at the NPS, the net promoter score, because all these things are expenses you need to spend. But you've got this finance guy who's looking at the bottom line and saying he wants to cut the cost and all that. So there's always that banter. There's always that people looking at things from different angles. From your experience and things you've seen around market retention, how easy has it been to be able to get everybody to rally around a particular matrix, which is around customer retention? Any thoughts to that?
Yeah, so I honestly feel the major things around alignment and aligning around the business goal. Because let's say we have all these departments in the company, and then the company comes out to say, oh, our main strategy for Q1 is that we want to grow by 20%. Like, just having that as the main goal and like having everyone aligned to that, it won't make sense if someone from probably supports discussing about another initiative that doesn't align to how they can grow. So the key thing is you have to have like a North Star, and like everyone has to move in that North Star, more or less like have a strategy, and that strategy will then trickle down. When people see the strategy, they will all align on the kind of things they have to do to get to that point. So I think one of the ways I've seen this being done is, you have your goal, you have your OKRs, like your objective key results for each department that all align to that thing North Star you're trying to move to. So you won't find a case whereby, all the departments, they are saying they are moving to this North Star, and then support will come and say, oh, they're trying to probably walk in another direction. Essentially, it means they're not aligned. It means the company is not aligned. So the key thing is everyone has to be aligned. Everyone has to get approval that shows alignment to the goal that the whole company is trying to move to. So that's the only way that the company can move in a certain direction. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I can't hear you, Mr. Victor.
Oh, sorry. I think I was muted. I mean, thank you so much. That was just quite insightful. I like the way in which you bring them out in very simple ways, and you just analyze. And I do like, how you end, which is how we're going to end today, that do what you do so well that they want to see it again and bring their friends. And I think to a large extent, this summarizes all you've been talking about and what this webinar today is about. It's about making sure that people can recommend you, people can become your champions, brand champions and advocates, because that's how you stay in business for perpetuity. It's people recommending, it's people saying this is the guy that delivers, this is the business that delivers, this is the person that delivers. You are the go-to person when you're obsessed about delivering a great experience to your customers. And Omatade, I want to say a big thank you to you for your time today. You have indeed brought significant value to the table and to our ecosystem. The beauty is that much more than even the people saying it's the fact that people always go down back again to always know that these contents are turned into podcasts that we'd always share later on. But much more than that is people always go down, they download, and they're part of this. And I think my colleagues have shared the link again for those who have joined us. You can get this recording and the other 109 preceding recordings at all our webinars. You'll find them at our website, www.ecoicenter.com/webinar. You will find 110 episodes from 12 noon tomorrow. This will be added to it. And again, like I had said, they've sent the link to our Tech Biz Nation, which is our support forum community, feel free to be a part of it. I and so many other facilitators are on the platform and will be able to provide support for you on the go. Much more than that, any latest information, accelerator informations, grants, programs, and things that we think will support you on your very lonely journey of building your startups, you will find out that we're able to share that, because again, building in an environment like this is tough. You need the community support. You need to, the plug. You need to know where to find the plug is for every problem. And that's what this is about. It's finally our obsession about delivering on our mission to support startups to scale up. And that's what this is about. And one is a big thank you for our facilitator of today. He's done a tremendous job. It's like listening to a lecturer who breaks things down, keeps it simple, keeps it straight to the point, and is able to expose on that. We do thank you. And we celebrate you today. And back to everyone that has been a part of this, I want to thank you for keeping the day with us again, the last Thursday of the month of April, and we look forward into a new month starting a couple of hours and tomorrow morning by started, of course, and I do wish that as we look back into what half of the year has been, it will have been a great year for us. Coming from the stable of Eco Innovation Center, we do have one of our flagship programs, which is the MAC, which is the Marketing and Technology Conversations that is happening. It's a day of conversations and an evening of pitches where we have 74 startups that have registered for different parts of the marketing space, talking about robotics, talking about the things around AI and e-commerce and all that. And these 74 startups are currently pitches. You want to attend? It's in Oriental Hotel on the 5th of July. You want to be a part of it, please do go to our website. I think the link has been dropped, and do register to be a part of MACAC. It promises to be enlightening, and it's a remarkable program that we bring as we begin to look for ways to see how we're part of the disruption of different ecosystems and different industries. And in this is about marketing and media. So do feel free to register and be a part of it. Out of Technology Lagos, our flagship program comes up also in December 3rd and 4th. It's going to be a MACAC, and this year again we're going to talk about the power of AI and a digital Lagos, how AI will be able to help power a smarter Lagos where we all find ourselves. Do remember Eco Innovation Center is also located in Lagos, and of course we do quite a lot of things in the area of civic tech, and that's why we keep looking at how our work can help make Lagos and the cities we live in a better place. Feel free to register. Feel free to be a part of AOT 6.0. This is the 6th edition, and it promises to be quite an exciting one. Thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of this. Okay, yes, my colleagues have just shared. There's an opportunity for you to be able to upskill yourself, register. I think we've got the hardware cohorts running now, and some data analytics cohort. We're teaching people about hardware, how to build device devices. You want to build solutions for devices, which is embedded software. You want to build into devices, laptops, POS machines. You want to learn about renewable energy, how to install, how to manage inverters, and build all that. Or you have people you want to recommend. Please look up Eco Institute of Technology, which is also a part of Eco Innovation Center, and do see how you can upskill yourself, see if there are grant scholarships available. And those are part of the things we do bring to the ecosystem to support the work that we do in the ecosystem. So you have somebody you want to recommend. I think there are a few scholarships available. People don't want to understand how to work around laptops, build them. It's the hardware cohorts that is about. Of course, I think we also have the product management and data analytics cohorts also running in the soft skill, but this is the hard skill part. We think again the technical knowledge is also important, and there's big opportunity and career prospects in those places. And therefore, again, the first from Eco Innovation Center, we're offering you an opportunity to learn and upskill yourself in there. I need to stop in here and say thank you for being a part of this. I remain your host of TechBiz webinar every month. My name is Victor Benga Falabi, the founder of Eco Innovation Center, 50 Awolowo Road, saying thank you for keeping a date with us. And we do hope that the work we're doing continue to add value to you and support you on your journey of scaling your organization, scaling your startup, and creating greater impact. Thank you, everyone. And I do look forward to hosting you next month. Have a great evening.